After an injury scare last week with Barcelona B, got everybody wondering, what is Riqui Puig still doing with Barcelona B? I predicted that Puig would play with the B team until January, and then get the call up to the senior team. But even now that seems unlikely. Today we're talking about the second half of the season for the Catalan midfielder. Will he get that promotion? Will he stay at Barca B? Or will he go out on loan? Hi, I'm Dan Hilton, and this is a Barcelona Podcast YouTube exclusive. Let's start with a possible promotion. His path to promotion would require an exodus of midfielders from the first team. So far, we've seen Frankie de Jong, Sergio Busquets, and Artur. Sergio Roberto has played in 10 games before his recent injury, the majority of those appearances in his preferred midfield spot. Even Rakitic and Arturo Vidal both have 8 appearances. Rafinha appeared in 3 games before moving to Celta de Vigo, and Carlos Alenya got the one chance in the first game against Athletic Bilbao. Even if Rakitic is moved on in January, Alenya would in theory get those minutes. If Alenya is also moved on to continue his development, then maybe Puig could be in line for those minutes. The unfortunate reality for Puig with a promotion would be that he would get unbelievable praise in wins, but plenty of the blame in a loss. This is the current issue with the culture of both the club and the fan base. If the 20-year-old fits in like a glove, he's expected to win the Champions League. If he struggles in a half, he's not good enough. I think for the betterment of both the player and the club, Puig getting minutes with the first team is still the best thing for him regardless of all that negativity. But what happens if he stays with the B team? For those who haven't been watching, Puig has been given a more free role under Francisco Pimienta, and his game is reaching new heights. He has been involved in 28% of the team's goals, which to put into context, Antoine Griezmann sits at 30% as a forward for the first team. He has a goal and an assist against AE Prat, and scored Barca B's lone goal in a 4-1 loss on the road to Hercules. The challenge given to Puig at the start of the season was to keep his form as much on the road as at home. So far, the reviews of his performances have been positive. The last point here, do Barcelona care if Barcelona B, who sit in 6th in the table at the moment and just outside the promotion playoff spots, lose their best player and most likely their best shot at returning to the second division? The answer with Carlos Alenya was no. And if there are restrictions on Barcelona B as a feeder team, then what's the point of it being a B team at all if it cannot produce top talents for the first team? The final option here is for Puig to go out on loan. It's not that I don't have faith in Puig's ability, I just don't have a lot of faith in Barcelona's loan system of late. You know what? Let's check in on a bunch of those current loans. Felipe Coutinho is a world-class player already and didn't go to Bayern Munich for the first-team experience. He went to resurrect his career. He doesn't apply here. Rafinha, as we mentioned earlier, is back on loan at Celta de Vigo, and while he's played in all 5 games since arrival, he's yet to impact the scoring, and Celta have been in rough form. After going on loan last year to Eibar, Marc Cucurella has again won himself a starting spot in a La Liga side, this time with Getafe in the Europa League. He has 3 assists and is the brightest from this list. It has been reported that Schalke boss David Wagner could give Juan Miranda, who is there on a 2-year loan, his first team debut soon, but clearly Miranda hasn't won over anybody yet in Germany. Flipping back to the positive, Oriol Busquets is finally healthy and is a starter for mid-table Twente in the Eredivisie. After winning the first 2 games on his arrival, the team then lost 3 straight and Busquets stayed on the bench for the last game, also a loss. That is a situation that started out positive, but is clearly worth monitoring. And how about some of the B team guys? 2 success stories here, but we have to take the level into account. Marcus McGrain is a regular starter at center mid for Telstar in the Dutch second division, and he's collected an assist so far. Lucas de Vega started off as a sub for Spanish third division side Cartagena, but he has been dropped from the last few squads. On a brighter note, center back Arnau Camas is starting for Olat, also in the third division. So maybe now we see why Alenya and Puig will be skeptical of loans. Training regularly with Messi every day may be a similar experience to potentially sitting on the bench at Leganés or Eibar. Reports are that Tottenham and Real Betis had asked about Alenya, but if you're Alenya, would you rather sit in the stands in January in London or Barcelona? I think the best case scenario for Puig is that he gets called up to the first team in January because Barcelona have offloaded a midfielder or 2. With the new format for the Copa del Rey, there are less chances for B team players, and I would want to see him make at least 10 to 12 other appearances in the spring for it to be worth it. A loan for the second half of the year seems unlikely, especially when you look at how important chemistry and continuity are to a player in the midfield like Puig. I think the most likely result is that he stays with Barca B this season and gets the full promotion over the summer. Unlike Moussa Vague, I think Puig will play next season. He was that good last year, and the 20-year-old has nothing more to prove in the third division. Like how I never brought up his physicality? That's because it doesn't matter. He has a low center of gravity that helps him ride tackles and has spent the last 2 years getting clumsily clobbered by adults. Riqui Puig is still just 20, and he's ready for the big time. wherever that may be. If you like what you saw, give us a like and subscribe. And keep checking this channel for more videos like this. And as always, until next time, Forza Barca.